Hey there, Sagittarius. Welcome to part 3 for your 2023 reading. We're going to do houses 9 through 12 in this reading. In your ninth house of travel, wisdom, learning, higher learning, things like that, you have this go the distance card. So some of you literally could be going the distance in the sense that you're traveling, moving, any of those things would be good. I would also say that if you happen to be learning something new, like if you happen to be learning a new skill, if you're going to school, college, anything like that, that the go the distance card would represent really learning, becoming an expert basically on something, learning the ins and the outs of whatever it is you're doing. I've been talking about this for years that really, if I were doing something, I wouldn't be just scratching the surface. I would be going as deep as possible because that's where all the success is. And, that's exactly what I'd be doing here, basically, is if you're, starting a new business, if you're thinking about starting a career in something, it could even be a new career. It's like the more of a quote-unquote expert you can become on whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, the better, obviously. So, that's what I feel like this go the distance card is kind of saying. I also feel that a lot of you, I kind of feel like this is the theme for the whole entire reading. You have this card in your 11th house that we'll talk about in a minute. It says, believe in yourself and your ability to carry out your dream. So I feel like if you have a dream, if you have something that you want to accomplish, this is saying go all the way. Do not stop. You have the Six of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and the Hermit. This could be a dream right here. The Page of Cups, he has that fish in his cup. And I always say that fish might not exist. He might be imagining that fish. He might be dreaming about that fish. He might be making it up in his head. It could be something he's dreaming about. We don't actually know. And, sometimes I feel that we need to grab onto that fish. It could be part of our dream, goal, wish. This is saying to me that if you learn as much as you can about whatever your dream is, then you will make it a reality. So I would just educate yourself. And obviously it's the ninth house of travel, which, maybe it's not like literally traveling, but if you're building one of your dreams, then you're going on an adventure, right? So I kind of feel like this is an adventure. I also do feel like there could be love coming in for you, and it could involve travel. It could be like long distance, or maybe someone could be moving to you. It's kind of weird. Like a bunch of people have had long distance stuff coming up as far as love is concerned. And if we look, you have the Knight of Wands right here, which could also be travel or adventure. You have the Knight of Cups, Six of Cups. Definitely good love cards here. I don't really consider these houses to be, love houses. 10th house can kind of have to do with marriage a little bit, but, that's not like the intention of these readings is not love, but I will mention it because it is showing up here. You do have the Six of Pentacles here, and again, Six of Pentacles talks about your investment. I feel like some of you, the ninth house is about wisdom, and wisdom is basically things that you have learned that you have put into action. It's like we can read books all day long. We can watch YouTube videos about something all day long, but until we actually find out what works for us, then we know nothing. So I kind of feel that the Six of Pentacles is talking about you putting the things that you learn into action so that you can gain wisdom. But I feel like you already have done this. I feel like this is kind of like saying you've been gaining a lot of wisdom over the years, and I feel like you're kind of putting more of your wisdom into action in this reading. You also have the Hermit. I feel like you've been through a dark night of the soul. Usually if we go through a dark night of the soul, if we are doing some soul searching in general, then we're learning a lot. And you can see that he's shining his inner light. So I feel like you've been going through a period of self-discovery, probably over the past few years. But I guess the good news here is that it looks like you're kind of coming out the other side. It looks kind of like you're having a release here where you're kind of releasing the heavy energy of going through a dark night of the soul or whatever you want to call it. With the Six of Pentacles, you have this impulsiveness card. This is actually a card of luck. You can see right here, there's a horseshoe that's the right side up, and it kind of represents luck or a lot of luck coming in for you. It's also another card of travel, so it could be like it could just be a heavy travel year for you. You could be doing a lot of traveling around, going on adventures, things like that. With the Page of Cups, you have the Rebellion card. Yeah, we're entering into this time of Aquarius. Pluto will be entering into Aquarius this year in 2023. It's going to leave. It's going to go back into Capricorn pretty quickly. It's a very short period of time that it's going to be in Aquarius, but I don't care. Pluto moves very, very slowly. It basically, even though it doesn't officially enter into Aquarius until 2024, it barely moves off the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius when it retrogrades into Capricorn this year. So, Pluto is huge. It takes 20 years, or it's very small, but it's very far away, and so it takes 20 years for it to make its way through a sign, and so it moves very, very little amounts when it moves, and so we're in this time of Aquarius. I think that doing things differently is the name of the game. I've been talking about this to basically everyone, that if we want something, we have to do things differently. We have to evolve. We're in a time of evolution. And if we do that, we'll be very successful. So don't be afraid to try new ideas, to learn about new things, or to use new technologies or any of that. With the Hermit, you have this intuition card. I feel like you've learned how to trust your intuition, like through difficult lessons that you've been experiencing. I also feel like some of you could, you could have had a person who was impulsive in your life, going this direction. Impulsive, Knight of Wands is impulsive. He represents in and out energy to the Five of Cups, which is like disappointments. So some of you could have had a disappointment with a person in a relationship who was impulsive. I feel like the wisdom that you gained from this was to trust your intuition, to listen to yourself. I feel, for whatever reason, I feel it's important that you don't beat yourself up. Like, if you said to yourself, like, maybe you spent a couple of years with a person, you're like, I knew I shouldn't have been with this person. Maybe you're beating yourself up a little bit. I get that feeling for some of you. I don't know. It's popping into my head. I feel like this is saying, like, let it go. It's fine. We all make mistakes. We have to learn in life. But now you've learned to trust your intuition, so trust your intuition. Next, in your 10th house of career, you have this Frog Spirit. I love this card. It says clearing out the clutter. So a lot of you could be cleaning things up in your career or your business, even if you are retired. The 10th house has to do with like long-term goals, fame, things like that. So some of you might have some long-term goals, and you could just be clearing things out or cleaning things up, which we actually even see with the Nine of Wands as well. We're going to talk about that in a minute, because we go from the Nine of Wands to the Eight of Pentacles, which is kind of like getting more focused, and I feel for a lot of you that you could be becoming more focused or more clear on what to do in your life. Frogs are also symbols of abundance, and so I feel there could be a lot of abundance coming in for you as well in your career. You have the Nine of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the Death card. Wouldn't surprise me if some of you were changing your career. I'm pretty sure it was you that in your weekly reading for like the first week of January, like January 2nd or something like that, I think, I can't remember, or I don't remember, what was it? Yeah, I think it was for January 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I don't know if I've been like sick for a couple of days here. I'm getting over something, so I'm kind of like been taking a little bit of cough medicine. I'm a little bit loopy right now, but what I would say is that I feel for a lot of you, there's a change coming in career. I'm pretty sure in that week that I said there could be an opportunity coming in from a distance. Look at, no matter what direction we take this, right here, we go to the Knight of Wands from the Death card. Literally could be like an adventure that changes your career. Going this way, Eight of Wands is also a card of movement, and it's going to the Six of Wands, which is success. So I feel for a lot of you that if you're getting an opportunity to change your career, your job, your business, maybe it involves a move, or maybe it involves some, again, sometimes I don't think we should always necessarily take tarot or astrology completely literally. Maybe it's not literal. Maybe you're just having to rearrange your life. Maybe you're just having to, maybe you go, maybe you work in one town, maybe you're working the other direction in a town over there, right? So it's like, maybe it's not literally a move. Maybe you're just moving where you work or something like that. But if there's an opportunity like that coming in for you in work or career, I feel there's a lot of success in like a move or making a change. So I would definitely say if you're thinking about it, I would go for it. I think it would be very good for you. I also feel this is talking about, again, going all the way, which I think is the main theme of this part of your reading. I feel like it's saying if you want to do something, you need to go all the way. Don't just dip your toes in the water. I feel like you need to like run, jump, cannonball straight into the deep end, right? And rip the Band-Aid off while you're at it. I think that pretty much will guarantee success for you this year. So that's what I'd be focusing on, especially when it comes to your personal goals. We're not talking about like, cannonballing into a relationship with some bozo from down the road. We're talking about like your own personal long-term goals, things that you want to achieve. Like really going for it this year is what's going to make you successful. You have the Nine of Wands, and again, I get a little bit of this kind of like clearing out the clutter type of energy here on the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior, but it's a card of not giving up. So number one, I think you're not giving up, but he's only holding on to one wand. He's got those 8 wands behind him. I always say, this is my card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, the Nine of Wands. So I feel like a lot of you have been like, doing a lot of experimenting, seeing what works in life, seeing what doesn't work. And it's like now you're just making the changes. So that's what I mean by clearing out the clutter, is like you finally have tried enough things that you know what works, you know what doesn't work in your life. And I feel like you're making those changes. So I really like this for focus and things like that. With the Nine of Wands, yeah, you have this domination card. This is your card. This right here is Mars and Sagittarius. So I feel like you are dominating the year. Or you could. You're going to have to put in the work, but definitely, a very dominant energy. With the Knight of Wands, you have this fortune card. Love it. A lot of people have been getting this card. I feel like there are really good fortunes. It seems to be a really good year. I'm kind of surprised because I was kind of going back and forth on this year just intuitively. But after working through all 3 parts for every single sign this month, I feel really good about this year. I feel like it's probably much better than from 2020 to 2022, much better than like the last 2 years at least, right? And so a major improvement, not perfect. I want to stress, not perfect, but I feel like there's at least the difference to me that stands out is it seems to me like there's a lot of opportunity for people personally to be very successful, but you're going to have to put the work in, right? It's not going to just magically appear, but at least the opportunity exists. So there could be a lot of fortune coming in for you. With the Death card, you have this empathy card here. For some of you, we didn't even talk about the Death card. I skipped right over it. And again, the funny thing is I feel like for some of you, this could be some sort of ending that you experienced with a person. And I feel like you're like maybe, I don't think this is true for all of you, but for some of you, I feel this could be some of you wanting to, sometimes I think we go through a breakup, for example. It's like we want to get something off of our chest, right? With the person we want to, maybe there are things that you wish you said, or maybe there are things that you wish you kind of, maybe you just wish you ripped the person's head off with your words, right? That's kind of what I'm getting here. And I think, maybe you just want a little recognition from the person. That's the type of empathy that you are hoping for is what I get here, Sagittarius. I don't think this is true for all of you. I think it's just true for some of you. Maybe you need to write a letter to, maybe you just write a letter to them, right? You don't have to send it to them. You don't have to let them know. You can just write the letter and then burn it, right? So I feel like that could be very beneficial if you happen to be in a situation like that, Sag. Next, in the area of your 11th house, you have this media card that says, get more publicity to increase your finances. I mean, do I need to say more? Step into the spotlight and get seen. Pluto and Aquarius, all about getting attention. I always say we're entering into this time of Aquarius, which is a star card, which is fame and fortune, which is getting as much attention as you possibly can. You have this card that says, believe in yourself and your ability to carry out your dream. So definitely, I feel like you need to believe in yourself with this energy so that you can carry out your dream. And I feel like you need to go the distance, like I said at the beginning of the reading. But I would definitely be trying to get as much attention as you possibly can. The 11th house has to do with like groups, community, the future. It has to do with luck as well. And we definitely see a lot of luck here. But also, again, it has to do with groups of people or like social groups and things like that. So if you work in social media, if you're trying to get attention on your business, I would do that through social media. You'll probably find a lot of success. You have the 8 of Pentacles here. Again, I get a sense of focus here because he's only working on one thing on this card. He isn't working on 100 different things, right? He's very, very focused. So I feel like being focused and kind of like working on one thing at a time is going to be important for you. I also feel like this is probably where you can get the best bang for your buck this year as well, is in working on like social groups, social media, your community, things like that. If you have a business or a career, focusing on those areas of your life could be very successful. I would also work on increasing your luck. And people always say, how do you increase your luck? Well, preparation. Any area of your life where you want to get lucky, what is it that could make you more prepared? What is it that could, increase your luck? And there's like a million things you can do without knowing your situation. I can't tell you what to do. You're going to have to figure it out for yourself. But what I would say is a good place to start is find people who are successful at doing what you want to do. If you want love, what do people who are successful in love, what do they do? Go do those things, Same thing in business. Same thing with your health. What do those people do? And that's a great place to start. You have the Eight of Wands here. Eight of Wands is a card of quick success. It's also a card of travel. We see a lot of travel cards here. You are a Sagittarius, so it makes perfect sense. I also feel like there could be a lot of like social energy. Again, this is my card of social media, the Eight of Wands. It's also my card of socializing. It's a card of communication. So clearly there's a lot of benefits for you in socializing, in social groups, in joining groups based off of interests that you're interested in. All those things I feel could bring you a lot more abundance and success. You also have the Five of Cups. So some of you might not want to be socializing. Some of you might not want to be getting out there, but he needs to turn around and see what he does have in these two cups. This is a card about practicing gratitude. The solution to the Five of Cups is to be grateful for what you do have. When you do that, you don't just get the two cups, you get this bridge and this castle over here. He's also crying over spilt wine, but the story of the Five of Cups is he's crying over something that he no longer enjoys. It's like he doesn't even like the wine anymore, but he's upset about the loss of something that he did once enjoy. And it basically says there's like a big-ass world out there. There's tons of new things that you can experience. So it basically says, like, go experience new things, right? Let's see. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have this defense card. I do feel like some of you could be protecting your finances. I don't think this is a bad thing. If you're doing things to save more money or to protect your money, I don't think that's bad. With the Eight of Wands, you have this Discovery card, another card of Sagittarius. So a lot of your cards are showing up here in this reading. I feel if you're like traveling or anything like that, you could be discovering a lot of new things. But again, this kind of reading is reminding me that I think this is one of those years where, like, all of us, we have to be open to discover. Obviously, if you're staying in your house all day and you're not like getting out into the world, you're not going to discover very much. So it's definitely another one of those years where I feel like we have to get out of the house and leave and go do things. With the Five of Cups, you have this generosity card. Like, I feel like people want to be generous of you. I feel like you need to be open to experiencing something new. It's like maybe your story has been the same for too long, like in love, for example, even though that doesn't really have to do with the 11th house necessarily. I feel like you need to allow people to be generous to you. Same thing in groups of people. Maybe you've had bad experiences working together with other people, but I feel like this is saying open up to be surprised. At the end here for your 12th house, you have this Thoughts card and this Privileged Lady card. You could be the privileged lady. You could also just be a privileged person. I don't attach gender to my readings in these general readings, so it could be whatever. And I feel like you could have a lot of good stuff coming in for you. I feel like some of you, the 12th house has to do with endings and a lot more than that. Endings, closure, like things that are hidden, things that you're releasing, stuff like that, secrets. But I feel like some of you could be thinking about a person from the past that you could be releasing, but maybe you just haven't fully released them yet. You have the Six of Wands, the Knight of Cups, and the Six of Cups. Again, Six of Cups, thinking about the past. If you're not thinking about a person, again, with the Five of Cups, you could just, what you have right next to it, you could just be thinking about the way that things used to be. I do feel that energy for a lot of people this year, where it's like, I think we could be looking at things, just like certain things in life. This happens to all of us in life, I think, where we're like, oh, I remember when things used to be easier, or things used to be whatever. So, like, a lot of this nostalgic energy, I think the trick here is to just make sure you don't get stuck in nostalgia, right? And realize that the world is changing, and that's okay. Who knows what we're heading towards? Hopefully it's exciting. You have this Knight of Cups here. Again, the Knight of Cups could be a knight in shining armor, but in your 12th house, it could be like a dream, something that you're dreaming of creating, or a dream that you are having. I always say that he's normally looking into that cup and he's imagining his future life. He's standing in the desert, but there's water flowing in front of him. So it kind of represents the fact that if you planted seeds in front of that water, the seeds would grow. So it kind of says that you might think that there's no opportunity where you are, but there's actually a lot of opportunity. You also have the Six of Wands. Six of Wands, of course, is a card of success and abundance and achievement. So I do feel for a lot of you, there could be a lot of successes coming in for you with this Six of Wands energy. And I really feel you're just like achieving a lot this year in general. Let's see. For whatever reason, I really don't feel 12th house stuff is very important, other than the fact that I think like the second you let go of something from the past, something new is going to come in very quickly. With the Six of Wands, here you go. You have this affair card. Definitely new love. If you're thinking about a past person, it's like the second you let go is the second a good, even better new person shows up. With the Knight of Cups, you have this influence card here. I feel like you need to look at how relationships influence your life. And again, it doesn't even have to be love relationships. It could be your relationships to anything, your relationship to food, your relationship to your TV, your relationship to yourself, pretty much everything. I feel like you need to look at how all your life relationships and how they influence the things that you achieve and accomplish in life. And this could lead to some pretty positive changes for you. With the Six of Cups, you have this concentration card. I'd be very careful what you pay attention to this year because, again, I feel like you're going to get what you pay attention to. Just that simple. But we're going to pull 5 main themes for you and see if there's anything else that we missed here for you, Sagittarius. You have this October card and the strong emotion, passionate love or hate. In the month of October, there could be love coming in for you. I kind of feel like it's love. For some of you, I'm wondering if you met this person in October of 2022. So you might already know this person, but maybe you just haven't started a relationship with them. So if you met someone back in October, you could be starting a relationship with them now in the future. You have this Parrot card. It says, someone will gossip about you and all your secrets. I would ignore gossip at all costs. Again, Mars retrograde, even though Mars is going direct soon, doesn't matter. I would say for like the first quarter of the year, I would just completely ignore gossip, plain and simple. You have this Broom card. It says new home, new attitude. We saw a ton of moving energy here, so it wouldn't surprise me if like a lot of you were moving or traveling or something like that. You have this Caterpillar. It says things will not always be this way. Change is coming. Love it. And you also have this, it came out with this Cup card. It says you should accept valid criticism. So again, I feel like there's a change coming. And again, maybe there are people who offer criticism. I don't even think it's criticism. There might be people who just tell you what's wrong with you. And maybe it hurts, right? The truth always hurts, but it could also be the thing that leads to the biggest change in your life. You also have this Cat card. It says a two-faced friend. Yeah, I would be careful of anyone. Can we get more detail on that here? 2 more cards. I would be careful of anyone who's two-faced. So you have the Success card and the Spread card, a period of prosperity and abundance. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of success coming in for you, plain and simple. I think your focus is what's important. Like if you're focused on gossip and you're focused on all the bad things that people are doing in your life, that's what you're going to get. If you're focused on your own prosperity, I think that's what you're going to get. And I really feel like you need to go all the way. It's almost like that go the distance card is saying when you shed the heavy burdens of other people's BS, that's when you're going to become successful because you're becoming more lightweight. I feel like you're becoming more agile. Pretty interesting reading, Sag, but thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your year.